We assumed the human was incapable, too slow to handle our academy. 6 days later, we discovered the truth: she wasn't slow. She was observing and hunting all of us. I've been training soldiers for 23 cycles at Valkera Military Academy, and I believed I had seen it all: every species, every body type, every attitude problem a drill instructor could face. The Kren with 6 arms who still fumbled a rifle. The Phosphine who glowed in darkness and struggled with stealth exercises. The Torgathy who tried to eat the obstacle course. You get the idea. Yet nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared me for the day Elena Reeves arrived at my compound. My name is Thren. Instructor Thren, if you prefer formality, though most cadets simply call me Sir right before collapsing from exhaustion. I run the advanced tactical program here at Valkera, which is a polite way of saying I turn soft, privileged recruits into functioning soldiers. It isn't glamorous work, but someone has to do it. The human appeared on orientation day with the rest of the incoming class, 47 cadets from 12 species, all seemingly eager to prove themselves. Well, almost all. Elena looked like she had just woken from a nap, or maybe she desperately needed one. Her half-lidded eyes gave off the unmistakable sign of someone barely conscious, and her movements were so slow I briefly wondered if she was injured. Cadet Reeves, Elena. Human, transferred from the Terran Auxiliary Corps, she said when I called her during roll. Her voice was calm and quiet, as if she were trying not to disturb anyone. While the other cadets stood rigid and alert, spine straight, attempting to impress me, Elena merely stood there as if waiting for a bus. A very slow bus that might never arrive. I checked my data pad. Humans, right? A species that had joined the Galactic Coalition only 15 cycles ago. They came from a notoriously dangerous planet, where apparently everything posed a threat to everything else. Earth, they called it. Death World, we called it. Reports described human resilience, their remarkable healing, and their ability to survive situations that would destroy most species. What the reports didn't mention was that they seemed to function at a permanent slow pace. Cadet Reeves, are you feeling unwell? I asked, genuinely concerned. Her skin was pale, and her breathing was so slow I had to watch carefully to make sure her chest was moving. No, sir. I feel fine, sir, she replied in her calm, measured tone. Your breathing rate is unusually low. Do you need medical attention? This is normal for humans, sir. We breathe slower than most species. I checked my medical scanner. Her heart rate was 62 beats per standard minute. My own hearts, plural, were pumping at 140. The Krin cadet beside her registered 210. A Velkaran at rest, or deep sleep, would register 62. That couldn't be right. I recalibrated the scanner. Same reading. Are you sure you're not ill? Positive, sir. From behind, I heard quiet snickering. Cadet Jorvik, a drain with rust-colored scales and a matching attitude, was whispering to his neighbor, look at the human. She's half dead already. This will be entertaining. Cadet Jorvik, do you have something to share with the class? I snapped. No, sir. Just admiring our new recruit's energy level, sir, he replied. More suppressed laughter came from his corner. Even Cadet Prina, normally disciplined, struggled to hide a smile. Prina was all lean muscle and restless energy, never able to stay still for long. Next to Elena's slow, deliberate movements, the contrast was almost absurd. I should have put a stop to it immediately, but honestly, I was curious too. The human truly looked like she might topple over. Her eyelids drooped, and her shoulders hung in complete relaxation. Yet, when I commanded the class to attention, everyone moved sharply and precisely into position. Elena adjusted her posture slightly, as if someone had nudged her from slouching to a slightly more upright stance. This academy is built on excellence, I announced, pacing in front of the formation. Cadets, you are here because you were selected from thousands of applicants. You are expected to represent the best your species can offer. Over the next 12 weeks, you will be tested physically, mentally, and tactically. Some of you will succeed. Some will fail. Some will choose to quit. I stopped in front of Elena. Up close, her eyes were more vivid than I expected, brown with hints of gold under the harsh lights of the training compound. There was a depth in them, something not reflected in her lethargic exterior, though I couldn't yet define it. Some of you, I continued, still focusing on her, will discover that this life is not for you. That's acceptable. It's better to learn it here than in a combat zone. Understood? Yes, sir, came the chorus of voices. Elena's was quiet, but present. Good. Welcome to Valkera. Try not to die. As I dismissed them to their barracks, I watched Elena trudge along slowly, already falling behind the others who rushed to claim the best bunks. Jorvik exaggerated his pace behind her, drawing laughter from half the class. I made a note on my data pad, human cadet, possible medical concerns. Monitor closely. What I should have written was, human cadet, not yet understood. Should not underestimate. Hindsight, of course, is perfect vision, and I was about to learn a costly lesson about judging appearances. Physical assessments began on day 3. Watching Elena attempt the combat speed trials was like watching a glacier in a sprint. The course was straightforward. Cadets navigated a 50-meter obstacle run, engaged pop-up targets with training rounds, executed a tactical role, and finished with a simulated close-quarters combat scenario. The Academy record, 14.3 seconds, was held by a Draken who had since joined Special Operations. Most cadets finished between 18 and 25 seconds. Elena took 41 seconds. 41 seconds. I stared at the chrono, convinced it was malfunctioning. But I had watched the entire trial myself. She moved through the course as if underwater. Her target acquisition was precise, I'll give her that. Every shot hit the center mass. But the speed, even the ancestors would have helped me. I had seen cargo loaders move faster. Did she think this was a sightseeing tour? Jorvik barked, not bothering to lower his voice. He had completed his run in 19 seconds, still breathing hard, his scales flushed from exertion. Should we wait for her to finish her nap before the next drill? Prina asked nearby, stretching her triple-jointed legs, coiling and uncoiling like a tightly wound spring. Maybe humans measure time differently. You know, like some planets have longer days. 41 seconds is probably, 5 seconds in human terms. The other cadets laughed. Even Corinth, usually serious and stoic, made a clicking noise that counted as a chuckle for his species. Elena, however, simply stood at the finish line. Her breathing was calm and controlled, her chest rising and falling with a steady, unhurried rhythm. She wasn't winded, gasping, or panting, just breathing as if she had been taking a casual stroll. The heart rate monitor read 70 beats per minute. 70, after a full combat sprint, Jorvik's was 260. Cadet Reeves, I called, keeping confusion out of my voice, are you injured? Did you strain something on the course? No, sir, she replied, her voice calm and steady. I am fine. Then why, by all the stars in the void, did you move like you were dragging a dead Togathy behind you? I moved as fast as I could, sir, she said. I blinked. All 4 of my eyes, in sequence, I needed a moment to process that statement. That was your top speed? Yes, sir. Jorvik burst into harsh laughter. Oh, this is perfect. The mighty humans from their death world send us one that moves like geriatric phosphine. Did they lose a bet or something? Maybe she's broken. Prina circled Elena, her energy manic. Do humans come with warranties? Can we return her? Elena did not react. She didn't flinch, snap back, or even glance at them. She just watched me with those gold-brown eyes, waiting for her next command. It was unsettling. Most cadets would have shown some emotion, anger, embarrassment, frustration. She showed nothing. Just patience. Endless, bottomless patience. Next assessment, I barked more sharply than intended. Cardiovascular endurance treadmill stations. The endurance test pushed cadets to their limits. 1 hour of progressively increasing speed and incline, monitoring heart rate, oxygen consumption, and lactate threshold. It separated the truly fit from the pretenders. It was brutal. At least 3 cadets usually collapsed or tapped out. 45 minutes in, Jorvik hit his wall. His heart rate hovered at 320, breathing ragged and desperate. He hit the emergency stop, stumbled off the treadmill, and promptly vomited. Prina lasted 52 minutes before her legs gave out. Corinth completed the full hour but collapsed immediately afterward, his massive frame shaking from exhaustion. Elena finished the entire hour. Her heart rate never exceeded 95 beats per minute. The medical staff stopped what they were doing, staring at the readouts. Dr. Hex, our head physician and a Velkaran with actual medical training, came to inspect the equipment personally. This cannot be accurate, he muttered, tapping the display. No organism can sustain this level of activity with these cardiovascular readings. It defies biological logic. Maybe she's holding back to make us look foolish, suggested his assistant, a young Kryn named Teszik. I walked to Elena's station. She had stopped running when the timer ended but still stood on the treadmill, barely sweating, barely breathing hard, as if she could continue for another hour. Cadet Reeves, are you using enhancements, stimulants, or biological modifications? I asked. No, sir. This is just how humans are built. Built wrong, apparently, Jorvik wheezed from the floor. Built stupid and slow. Dr. Hex pulled me aside, his voice low. Instructor Thren, I need to run more tests. Her respiratory efficiency is unlike anything I've seen. She's processing oxygen at a rate that shouldn't be possible with lungs that size, and her heart rate. It was almost as if her body did not register the exercise as stress. Was she dangerous? Could this indicate a medical issue? I could not say, but I had never observed physiology like this before. Her resting heart rate was 60. 60. That is the level I personally registered during deep delta sleep. Even under maximum exertion, her cardiovascular response barely reached what I would associate with light jogging. I looked back at Elena as Tessic fitted her with additional monitoring devices, respiratory sensors, cardiac trackers, thermal imaging. She accepted all of it without complaint or remark, standing calmly with the same patient, nearly serene expression. Run every test available, I told Alex. I wanted clear answers. Over the next 2 days, Elena became both a medical curiosity and a source of humor in the training yard. Dorvik started calling her Turtle Girl, a nickname that spread quickly and unfortunately. Frenna began exaggerating yawns whenever Elena passed by. Even some instructors made remarks in the staff room about the slow human. Yet one detail kept troubling me, resurfacing repeatedly during my off hours. Elena never responded. She never showed anger, never became defensive, and never attempted to prove herself through arrogance or aggression, as most cadets would. Instead, she continued through each evaluation at her own pace, striking targets with steady accuracy, completing every assigned task, and maintaining that unusually low heart rate throughout. And her eyes, every time I observed her, those gold-brown eyes were watching, evaluating, calculating something I could not fully interpret. On the 5th day, Dr. Hawk delivered his report. She is healthy, exceptionally so. In fact, her physiology is operating exactly as expected for a human. Her species simply functions within different parameters than ours. Slower heart rate, slower breathing, but extremely efficient. It is similar to comparing a high-speed racer to a long-distance transport vehicle. Different roles, different designs. She is not ill, not even slightly. If anything, she is among the healthiest individuals in your entire class. I reviewed the report, then looked back toward the training yard where Elena was calmly field stripping a rifle while Jorvik made exaggerated sleeping motions behind her. Then why is she so slow? I asked, mostly to myself. Alex shrugged, all 4 shoulders rising in sequence. Perhaps speed is not the trait humans evolved to prioritize. That response should have answered everything, yet I was still unable to see the full picture. Week 6 arrived with the announcement everyone anticipated, the Live Fire Field exercise. This was the Academy's defining test, designed to separate true tactical thinkers from cadets who simply performed well on written assessments. I assembled the entire class in the main briefing hall. For once, even Elena, who usually appeared perpetually tired, seemed slightly more alert. Listen carefully, I said, activating the holographic display of the training zone. In 3 days, you will be deployed into a 200 square kilometer combat area for a week-long elimination exercise. Each of you will carry non-lethal marker rounds that register eliminations on your biosuits. The objective is straightforward: survive and eliminate the competition. The room filled with energy. Jorvik nearly shook in his seat, his scales shifting with anticipation. Prina stopped fidgeting entirely, her 3 eyes fixed on the display with focused intensity. However, I continued, letting the pause settle. This cycle includes an additional element. 1 cadet will be designated as the Marksman. That cadet will receive a long-range rifle, a spotter scope, and authorization to establish static positions. Their role is to eliminate targets from a distance while remaining concealed. I paused deliberately, scrolling through my data pad. Every cadet leaned forward, hoping to be chosen for the most respected role in the exercise. The Marksman position won the scenario in 9 out of 10 cycles. It carried prestige, strong record value, and universal interest. The Marksman for this exercise will be Cadet Elena Reeves. The silence was immediate and absolute. Then Jorvik reacted sharply. Sir, with respect, that makes no sense. She moves like a sedated bratch. How is she expected to track fast-moving targets? She cannot even keep pace during speed drills, Prina added, her tone edged with disbelief. Sir, I scored highest in marksmanship assessments. I should be assigned that role. You scored highest in rapid engagement, I corrected. Cadet Reeves scored highest in precision shooting and target acquisition. Every round she fired during training landed center mass. There were no wasted shots and no misses. That is the standard required of a marksman. However, her reaction speed, Corin spoke up for the first time, his voice low. Sir, she will not be able to respond quickly enough if an enemy flanks her position. I looked toward Elena. She sat quietly in the back row, showing no satisfaction at being chosen and no arrogance in response to her classmates' objections. Her expression remained steady and composed. She was observant, attentive, and focused. The decision is final, I said clearly. Cadet Reeves will serve as the marksman. The rest of you will operate as both hunters and targets. You are dismissed. Prepare your equipment. The cadets exited the hall, some muttering under their breath. As Jorvik passed Elena, he deliberately struck her shoulder with enough force to make his intent obvious. She did not respond, did not slow, and did not acknowledge him. She left at her usual measured pace. I returned to reviewing the exercise parameters when my office door opened without a knock. I looked up, prepared to reprimand the cadet responsible, but instead found myself facing Gunner Prime Kessa. Kessa was widely known. She was a veteran of the border wars, the Christian uprising, and numerous classified operations beyond my clearance. Her confirmed combat kills exceeded my total training rotations, and her injuries reflected that experience. Her left arm was fully cybernetic. Her right eye had been replaced with a military-grade optical implant. There were persistent reports that she once held a defensive position alone against an entire company for 3 days. She was also known for appearing at the academy without notice whenever something of interest was underway. "Gunner Prime," I said, standing and offering the appropriate salute. "I was not informed you would be observing this exercise." "A last-minute choice," she replied. Her voice was rough, damaged by an old throat wound. She moved to the window and watched the cadets preparing in the training yard. "I hear you assigned the human as marksman." "Yes, ma'am." Her accuracy scores justified the selection. "Do you understand what that decision means?" Her tone was neutral, not critical, simply inquisitive. I hesitated. "I have assigned the role to the most qualified cadet." Kessa made a sound that could have been a brief laugh or a restrained cough. "During the Christian campaign, I fought alongside human special forces," she said. "In particular, I worked with their snipers." She turned back toward me, her cybernetic eye adjusting as it focused. "Tell me, instructor, what makes a predator truly dangerous?" "Its weapons. Its speed. Its patience." She nodded slightly. "A Velkaran hunter pursues prey until it collapses from exhaustion. A Drain relies on sustained aggression. A Sethic moves with speed, but a human predator operates differently." She smiled, but it was far from friendly. "A human predator can wait, days if necessary, barely breathing, barely moving, heart rate so low you might think they were dead. Then, when you've completely forgotten they exist, when you're convinced they pose no threat, they strike." A cold unease settled in my stomach. "You mean I made a mistake choosing her?" I asked. "No," Kessa replied, heading toward the door. "I'm saying you have no idea what you've unleashed on the other cadets. And I wouldn't miss this exercise for anything in the galaxy." She paused at the threshold and looked back. "One more thing, instructor, never assume a human is slow just because they move slowly. There's a difference between lacking speed and choosing not to use it." She left, and I remained in my office, staring down at the training yard. Elena was calmly cleaning her assigned rifle. Jorvik and Prina were nearby, joking, words I couldn't hear but could imagine. And Elena continued, patient and meticulous, as if time itself belonged to her. Kessa's warning echoed in my mind. It's patience, I realized. For the first time since Elena arrived, I felt a real sense of concern, not for her, but for everyone else. At dawn on day 1, the drop ships deployed all 47 cadets across the training ground's varied terrain. From my position in the command center, I watched their biosignals scatter across the tactical display like seeds blown by the wind, mountains to the north, dense forest in the center, open plains to the south, and a river cutting through the east. Perfect hunting ground. Within the first hour, 3 cadets were eliminated. Jorvik moved through the southern plains like a storm, his aggressive tactics paying off immediately. I watched his signal converge on Cadet Thorn, a phosphene who had the poor judgment of hiding behind a rock while literally glowing. Jorvik's marker round struck center mass. 1 down. Prin was a blur in the forest. Her Scythic speed let her flank positions before targets realized she was there. She caught Velix and Kormarmak near a stream, attempting to form an alliance. Both were eliminated almost instantly. Her signal flickered across my screen, never lingering in one spot for more than a few minutes. Aggressive start, Lieutenant Var, my second-in-command, commented, studying the displays. They're hunting hard. Too hard, I muttered, analyzing the movement patterns. They're burning energy and revealing their positions. This is a week-long exercise, not a sprint. What about the human? Var asked, squinting at the screen. I can't find her signal, I said, frowning as I zoomed in on the northern mountains where Alina had been deployed. Her bio-signal was present, a steady blip on the monitor, but it had barely shifted from her insertion point. She was in the mountains at grid reference 7734. Had she moved at all? I checked the tracking log. Over 4 hours, Elena had advanced only about 200 meters uphill to a rocky outcropping that overlooked a valley approach. That was her only movement. 200 meters in 4 hours, Var remarked, a mix of disbelief and amusement in his voice. At this rate, she'll still be in the mountains when the exercise ends. Day 1 ended with 7 cadets eliminated. Jorvik accounted for 3, Prina had 2, and a tactical Kryn named Zaire eliminated 2 cadets who had exposed themselves in open ground. The remaining 40 cadets settled into defensive positions for the night, their bio-signals clustering in areas with cover and clear sight lines. Elena did not move from her outcropping, not even to eat, as far as the monitors showed. Her heart rate read 58 beats per minute, essentially resting. Should we check if she's even conscious? Var asked, only half joking. Day 2 saw more action. Jorvik and Prina each secured 2 additional eliminations, hunting with relentless efficiency. Their aggressive tactics dominated the field, marking them as the favorites. I observed Jorvik chase cadet break through a ravine. The Draken's superior speed and drive easily overpowered the smaller cadet's evasive maneuvers. 1 marker round to the spine, eliminated. Prina ambushed a trio of cadets moving together through the forest, taking them down from 3 different angles. Her quick relocations prevented any coordinated response. By the end of day 2, 3 more cadets were eliminated, leaving 29 remaining. Elena, meanwhile, had not fired a shot and had moved no more than 50 meters from her original position. Her bio-signal remained steady in the mountains, overlooking the same valley approach. I pulled up the optical feed from her rifle scope, standard procedure for monitoring marksmen. The scope was active, she was scanning the valley below with slow, deliberate sweeps. But nothing happened. No targets. No shots. No movement. She's going to lose this exercise by doing nothing, Var commented. Even if she survives, elimination count determines final ranking. She has 0 kills. Maybe she fell asleep up there, joked Sergeant Krill, another observer. Should we send someone to check on her? Gunner Prime Kessa, who had been silent in the corner of the command center for 2 days, finally spoke. She is hunting. You just don't recognize it because you're impatient. I turned to her. Hunting what? There's nothing in her sector. Everyone is engaged in the plains and forests. She's in the wrong position. Is she? Kessa said, moving to the display. Her cybernetic finger traced a path through the valley. Elena is watching. What's the fastest route from the southern plains to the northern resource cache? I looked at the map. The resource cache, a high-value objective containing superior equipment and supplies, was in the far northern sector. The quickest route passed straight through the mountains, specifically through the valley Elena was overlooking. Cadets would need to break from the current hunting grounds to reach it. So far, everyone was too focused on eliminations to plan strategically for resources. No one is moving toward the cache yet, I observed. Yet, Kessa repeated, emphasizing the word. They will act, eventually, once easy targets are gone, supplies run low, and they realize this exercise will last a week, not just a couple of days. Then, they will move toward the cache, and she will be waiting. Day 3 was chaotic. The remaining 29 cadets realized that open aggression was getting them eliminated. They began moving cautiously, setting ambushes, and coordinating in small teams. The elimination rate dropped significantly, only 4 cadets were removed that day, 2 due to accidents. Cadet Morik triggered his own marker mine, and Cadet Shank fell while climbing and required medical evacuation. Jorvik had 9 eliminations overall, Prina 8. Both had become the clear leaders, and their growing confidence was audible in their comm chatter, which we monitored for safety. By day 4, Jorvik had 10 eliminations. He boasted to a temporary ally, I'm going to set a new academy record. Prina asked during a rest period, where is that slow human? Has anyone seen her? Maybe she died of boredom in the mountains. Laughter echoed over the comms, even from cadets who should have been more cautious. Elena's heart rate remained steady at 55 beats per minute. She had eaten 1 meal in 3 days, drank minimal water, and sat in the same position, observing through her scope, waiting. On the morning of day 4, the dynamics shifted. Aggressive hunter supplies were dwindling, Jorvik's pack was nearly empty, and Prina's high metabolism had consumed her rations. 3 separate groups of cadets moved toward the northern resource cache, all passing through Elena's valley. I leaned forward, watching their bio-signals converge on the screen. Here we go, Kessa said quietly, a faint smile at the corner of her scarred mouth. Elena's heart rate dropped to 52 beats per minute. For the first time in 4 days, her scope paused its systematic scan. She had a target. The first elimination was so quiet we nearly missed it. Cadet Rennick, moving through the valley under the assumption of good cover, suddenly registered as eliminated on the display. His bio-signal turned from green to red. A marker round hit him from 700 meters away, he never saw where it came from. What just happened? Bar asked, confused. Who got Rennick? I checked the logs. Reeves. Elena Reeves. Kessa's smile widened. By mid-afternoon on day 4, Elena had 5 eliminations. Each shot was precise, each cadet unaware of the danger until it was too late. The targets fell from different angles within her sector, suggesting she was relocating between shots like a trained marksman, but she was not. I reviewed the tracking data and felt a chill. All 5 shots originated from the same rocky outcrop she had occupied for 4 days straight. She had not moved, simply picking off targets as they entered her kill zone. The remaining cadets had no idea where the shots were coming from. "This isn't possible," Burr said, examining the ballistic trajectories. Shot 1 angled northeast, shot 3 southwest. She would have needed to move at least 200 meters between positions to achieve these angles from an elevated location. "Unless," Kessa said, stepping closer, "she isn't moving her body, just her rifle. Humans have exceptional shoulder and spine flexibility, plus breathing control that allows them to maintain stability at extreme angles." I checked Elena's vital signs: heart rate 48 beats per minute, lower than her normal resting rate during active combat. How was this possible? She was engaging targets actively, yet her heart rate continued to drop. Kessa nodded slowly, as if teaching a complex concept. "Instructor Thrin, what do you know about Earth predators? They're dangerous, adaptable. Yes, but incomplete. Humans evolved in an environment where almost everything was trying to kill them. Let me tell you about a creature called a crocodile." Kessa pulled up her personal data pad, showing an image that made Var flinch. It depicted a massive reptilian predator with rows of sharp teeth. This animal can slow its heart rate to just 2 or 3 beats per minute while waiting for prey. It can stay completely still in water for hours, even days, appearing like a log or a rock. Then, when prey comes close enough, it strikes with enough force to pull creatures twice its size underwater. She swiped to another image. Or consider the spider. Some species can reduce their metabolism to near-death levels, remaining in their webs for weeks without food. Completely still and patient, they conserve every bit of energy until a meal arrives. "Elena is not a crocodile or a spider," I said, though my voice sounded uncertain even to me. "No," Kessa replied, "but she is human. And humans are persistence predators. They are endurance hunters. Do you understand what that means?" Her cybernetic eye locked onto mine. "Most predators in the galaxy evolved to be fast, to overpower prey with speed and strength. Humans evolved differently. They survive by outlasting their prey, tracking an animal for days or even weeks until it collapses from exhaustion. Speed was not essential, patience and persistence were." She brought up old combat footage, grainy and worn. "During the Krishan campaign, I watched a human sniper hold a position for 6 days. 6 days? I said, surprised. "Do you know his heart rate when he took the shot?" she asked. I shook my head, staring at the footage of a camouflaged figure barely visible against rocky terrain. 42 beats per minute. He slowed his heart so much that our thermal sensors couldn't detect him. His breathing was minimal, just 1 inhale every 45 seconds. He wasn't hiding from us. He made himself functionally invisible, as close to dead as a living being can be while staying conscious. "That's not natural," Var whispered. "It is for them," Kessa said. "On Earth, this patience distinguished successful hunters from those who failed. The ability to remain completely still, ignoring hunger, thirst, discomfort, and boredom, until the objective is achieved. They call it the marksman's trance, a state of total physiological calm paired with full tactical awareness." On the display, Jarvik's bio-signal moved aggressively toward the mountains. His heart rate read 290 beats per minute, elevated by combat stress and anger. He had already lost 3 members of his hunting pack to Elena's invisible shots. Now he was abandoning caution. "Someone should warn him," Thor said quietly. "He won't listen," I replied, watching the Draken signal push down the valley. "He believes speed and aggression will win," Kessa said, observing silently. Jarvik reached within 400 meters of Elena's position before his bio-signal turned red. A marker round struck his chest plate, eliminating him. His comm channel erupted in disbelief and curses. "Where is she? Where is she in the void? I didn't even see her." I zoomed in on Elena with our optical satellite. Among the rocks, barely distinguishable from the surrounding stone, a human-shaped figure waited. She had not moved, not repositioned, she had only waited. And then, with that controlled heart rate and precise breathing, she took a shot that ended the exercise. Her heart rate after the elimination was 46 beats per minute. She might as well have been meditating. "This is what you meant," I said to Kessa, finally understanding. "When you said I didn't know what I had unleashed." They laughed at her slow breathing. Kessa, still watching the display, smiled. They mocked her low heart rate, calling her defective and broken. But marksmen do not rely on speed. Instructor Marksman wait. Humans, she smiled that dangerous smile again, are exceptionally good at waiting. By day 6, only 2 cadets remained, Elena Reeves with 14 eliminations, and Prina with 12. The Scythic had survived through sheer speed and tactical awareness, dodging Elena's kill zones with constant, unpredictable movement. She was exhausted, visible in her irregular bio-signal patterns, yet she remained in the fight. Finally, she had pinpointed Elena's location. I watched Prina's signal approach the mountains from the west, moving in short, irregular bursts. Smart, she was using the terrain and timing to avoid giving a clear shot. Her heart rate was high, around 300 beats per minute, her psionic metabolism fueled by adrenaline and determination. Elena had not moved from her outcropping in 6 days. Her heart rate read 44 beats per minute. She's going to lose, Var said, watching Prina's approach. A Scythic moves too fast, too unpredictably. Even with perfect aim, Elena could not track a target that erratic. Kessa leaned forward slightly, attentive. Watch. Prina made her move, a rapid sprint across open ground, zigzagging in a pattern designed to avoid sniper fire. She was incredibly fast, closing the distance to Elena's position in seconds. 200 meters. 150. 100, Elena's scope followed Prina with mechanical precision, yet she did not fire. Even as Prina jinked left, then right, then left again, Elena remained still. 75 meters? 50, Prina was almost on top of her position now, shifting to flank and neutralize the range advantage. Then Prina stumbled slightly, her back leg catching on a hidden root. That brief pause made her movement predictable. The marker round struck her center mass before she could even react. Exercise complete. Winner, Cadet Elena Reeves. The command center was silent. She waited for the mistake, I said quietly, understanding dawning. 6 days. She had waited 6 days for a single moment of vulnerability. Patience, Kessa said simply. The weapon everyone underestimates. Within the hour, both cadets were extracted by transport. Prina looked shaken but respectful, clearly recognizing she had been outmaneuvered at a level she had not expected. When Elena stepped from the transport, she moved exactly as she had on day 1, slow, deliberate, half-lidded eyes, unhurried. Her heart rate, I checked one last time, was 60 beats per minute, as if she had just woken from a nap. The other cadets, eliminated but gathered to witness the outcome, stared at her in disbelief, a mix of shock and newfound respect. Jorvik looked ill, his scales pale as he realized how completely he had misjudged the threat. I approached Elena. Cadet Reeves, that was exceptional work. Thank you, sir, she replied, her voice calm and steady. 6 days in position. Most cadets would have gone insane from boredom. She shrugged. I was not bored, sir. I was hunting. Kessa appeared beside me, nodding in approval. There's an old human saying, good things come to those who wait. I prefer the military version, the enemy comes to those who wait in the right position. She looked at Elena with respect. As Elena walked slowly toward the barracks, I turned to Kessa. Earlier, you said humans are something special. You've seen more than you shared. She nodded. I have seen humans hold impossible positions against overwhelming odds. Survive environments that would kill any of us. Medics running into active fire zones to save the wounded, not because they were ordered, but because their nature drives them to protect their pack. She paused, her cybernetic eye scanning. But the most terrifying human I've seen is the one who chooses to wait. When they enter that state of calm and absolute focus, they become something else, not faster, not stronger, but inevitable. Patient. Unstoppable. I watched Elena disappear into the barracks, her slow, steady footsteps echoing across the compound. She had been mocked for her slow breathing, low heart rate, called defective. But marksmen do not rush. Marksmen do not panic. Marksmen wait. And Elena Reeves, human, had taught the academy a lesson no classroom could convey: never underestimate a predator who has mastered patience. By the time you notice the threat, they have already observed you for days, heart rate unchanged, unshaken, unstoppable.